All right, guys, so I want to make this video to talk about our men and women of law enforcement in America. You know, I've got a brother-in-law that works for our sheriff's department here in the county that I live in. He's also in the Army. He's an amazing guy. I mean, him and my sister's been married for almost a year now. And, you know, I don't think she could have picked a better one to choose as her husband. And a few days ago here in our county, we had one of our deputies killed in a car accident. He was out trying to clear a ladder off of the interstate that had flew off of a work van, I believe. Him and another deputy were performing a rolling roadblock, and he got out to clear the ladder from the interstate, and a tractor trailer come around and actually hit, I think, like two or three cars. I don't know how many were behind the deputies, but anyway, as he was out getting the ladder, the truck hit the cars, which pinned him between the truck and, I believe, his cruiser. I'm not 100% on that, but I do know it pinned him. And unfortunately, shortly after that, he went to a better place. Everything we know about, everything you've ever heard about the man, he's an amazing guy, amazing father. His son works for our department here in our sheriff's department. Also, he's been on the force for 20 years. He was a sergeant. The guy that was driving the truck was intoxicated. I don't know on what exactly, but they did find drug paraphernalia in the car. They found a loaded firearm in the car, or in the truck. You know, the memorial for this deputy, his name was Jenkins, was amazing, and all of our surrounding counties have been amazing in support of our county here and our deputies and trying to help them deal with losing one of their brothers. And, you know, it's just really sad that for the last couple of years, our law enforcement in this country have got such hate and such a bad name, when realistically, it's the criminal that should have the bad name. Do things happen sometimes with our law enforcement that shouldn't? Yes, absolutely they do. Are there some that are just bad apples in the bunch? Yes, there is. But just because you got one bad apple don't mean you throw away the whole bag. And our deputies here our deputies, our city cops, state patrols, border patrols, any law enforcement that is in your communities, that they're there to protect you. 99.9999% of them are there to do one job, and that is protect you, protect your communities and where the communities they live in, and try to make our cities and towns and counties a better place to live, a safer place to live, and try to. They didn't take that job because they wanted to go and cause problems. They took that job to protect our communities and to try to make a difference. And they get such hate and they get such criticism for the job they do and some of the choices they have to make in the spur of the moment. And the people that make those statements try to demonize our law enforcement. You don't know what it's like to be in their job. I don't know what it's like to be in their job. My father was a deputy for almost 20 years, and I don't know what it's like for him. You know, I don't know what it was like for when he was a police officer. That was back several years ago. I mean, but things are way different nowadays. And if you have a problem with having cops in your town, then that to me says that you just want to be able to do what you want without any recourse, and that you really just want to be, you're out to be a criminal. That's what that says to me. You know, it's been real hard for our deputies here, and this accident that happened with Sergeant Jenkins, it hit our county really hard. And now we have the issue of the guy that was driving the truck was black, and they don't want to try him in our county because they say our county's racist and he won't get a fair trial here. They have him in a different jail in another in a neighboring county, and I kind of understand that. No, don't put it. It might be hard to put him in our county because you're going to have a lot of deputies that are upset with this man. So that's fine. Hold him in a different county. But he should be tried here because this is where he come into our county driving a tractor trailer, you know, a 60,000 pound vehicle under the influence of whatever it was. And it's just really sad what America, not all of America, but a good portion of it, and our politicians have tried to turn our law enforcement into, and it really is. What do you think would happen if you took away our police officers? Because you got some that just say defund them, then you got some that say abolish. So when you say abolish the police, to me, that says you want your police department all the way gone. You don't want any police in your community. Who's going to do that job for you then? Are you going to be able to handle it when someone breaks into your house? Are you going to be able to deal with that when you can't figure out who it is because you don't have the means and the forensic, you know, access to take care of, to try to come in and figure out who it was? Or when somebody shoots your son or kills your daughter in a drive-by on accident and they can't figure out who it was because you can't match fingerprints and you can't match shell casings to the or bullets back to the pistol and the shell casings. When you're a woman and you're claiming you want defund the police and abolish the police, and you're married to a man that's beating your ass every single day, and you're in a domestic violence situation often, what are you going to do about that? Because if you stay in that situation, you obviously aren't going to do anything about it or you would leave. You wouldn't be there. You wouldn't be dealing with that. It's sort of, even though I'm not law enforcement, you know, I wear this flag on my hat every day. Almost every shirt I have has a flag on the arm. And I will always 100% stand behind law enforcement, behind our police officers, our city cops, our deputies, our military. And yes, like I said, there are some that need to go. There are some that don't need to be in the job. But the majority of them are only here to try to protect you. And when I see something or hear something like what happened in our county a few days ago, it really does tear me down. I didn't really know him. I'd met him a time or two. But, you know, when I found out what happened, you know, it tore me up. Because that man was just out there trying to get that ladder off that interstate before somebody hit that ladder and got hurt. You know, he risked his life simply to get a ladder off the interstate. He could have left that ladder there. He didn't and actually he responded to the call when it was another deputy's call. And he was closer, so he took the call. That is where I have a huge issue with things like that right there. And all you hear is people all over the internet, all over the country, marching, holding the signs like a bunch of idiots, saying defund the police and abolish the police, and police officers are this and that. What needs to be happening is you need to be out there marching, supporting your law enforcement, donating to your law enforcement, being there, offering to help your sheriff's department or your city cops. You know, if more people showed support for our cops, the less people would be there to demonize our cops. And it's really amazing to me that we can live in a country like we do right now with so many riots, so much looting in all these big cities that are supposed to be some of the, you know, the best cities to go to in America to visit, tour, you know. Okay, take Los Angeles, for instance. You know, that should be a place, Hollywood, Los Angeles, you know, that should be a place where people want to go visit from all over the world. I mean, you know, because it's a huge part of America. I mean, there's music, you got all the celebrities. I mean, that should be a place to go visit and tour, and it is a absolute shithole. You have people, I mean, these smash and grabs, people robbing stores, and they can't do anything about it. And these mayors say, well, we're not going to arrest them if it's not over $1,000. It doesn't matter. If you go in and grab an armful of merchandise from a store, you should be arrested for that. There should be no leniency with that. But because the cops have been attacked for so long now, and every single day lately, just about, it seems like you hear about an officer getting shot. Sometimes they're just sitting in their car doing nothing and somebody runs up and shoots them. But it makes them not even want to be able to do their job. I mean, I forget what city it was where I saw where the whole police department walked out. You know, it's insane that we've done this to our cops, and we got men like Sergeant Jenkins that risked his life to, you know, to keep other people safe that he don't know anybody that might would have come up the interstate and hit that ladder. But then we sit here and talk about how bad they are and how we shouldn't have them and they should be defunded, which would make less officers, less training, less prepared to deal with your situation that nobody else is going to come and deal with for you. Anyway, guys, you need to, when you see an officer, just like you would tell a 90-year-old veteran from World War II, you know, you tell him thank you for his service, and you make a comment about his hat if he's wearing my grandfather, World War II vet. You know, people tell him all the time. They speak to him all the time and tell him thank you for. Do the same thing to your officers. Tell your officers thank you for what they do for you. Tell your officers thank you for the service that they provide for your community. We had the day after it happened, we had a deputy from a neighboring county was down here working our SRO, for my daughter's school. And when I saw him in there, I knew why he was there the day I picked her up, and you know, I made sure to tell him thank you for coming down and doing that for us. Like I said, I'm not law enforcement, so, but I thanked him for them. Anyway, guys, if you hear someone or see someone on your social media and that's what they're doing, they're talking about defund the police or they're dogging law enforcement, you need to say something to them. You need to step up and say something to them, because it's way out of hand. I know that some people just have a problem with law enforcement, and even if they're not like just defund the police stuff, they just have a problem with law enforcement in general. And that's whatever. That's you're entitled to your own opinion. I mean, I think it's stupid, but you're entitled to your own opinion, because if you're not doing something to break the law, they're not going to mess with you. If you get pulled over for some illegitimate reason and you won't do anything, then just do what they say and then fight it in court. Because if they pulled you over because you were doing something, and if they don't have proof that you were doing it, what can they really do? Just let them say, or let them write your ticket, let them take you to jail. You get out of jail, you go to court, you fight it, and then you deal with it. But there's definitely no reason to demonize our cops and to say anything about defunding the police. And when something bad happens and some guy pulls a gun on a cop and he has to shoot that man, he has a split second to think about it. And the real question is, if someone broke into your house and you happen to have a gun, would you have that split second, or would you be able to think in that split second if that was the thing to do? Should I shoot this man that's in my house, or should I not? You got to decide right then. He could or could not have a gun breaking in your house, but you have to decide what is the best option for your safety and for the safety of the people around you. Well, anyway, this wasn't really a video. I didn't mean to get off on excuse me, on this defund the police thing. It was more of, I wanted to start this video and just let our law enforcement know all across this country. I have a good friend that's also an officer in California, and you know, he was telling me that he lost his partner in a shooting, and you know, he didn't know it because it wasn't He wasn't telling me face to face. Obviously, he's in California, but I teared up a little bit because it made me think about our Sergeant Jenkins here. And this video was really to pay respect to our law enforcement and to Officer Jenkins and to his partner. And I would not let someone disrespect law enforcement in front of me. You're entitled to your opinion. Yes, you are. Absolutely. And to an extent, I'm not going to say a word. But you will not sit there and just bash our cops. You just won't do it. Because if it wasn't for them, America would be like the Wild Wild West again. And trust me, the amount of people that are good people, law-abiding citizens, gun-carrying people, pro-Second Amendment people, we will be the ones then having to police everything. You don't want to take away our cops. You just don't want to do that, because trust me, you can't deal with what would come with that. It would be like the purge every day if we did not have law enforcement. Unfortunately for the criminal, well, hey, maybe it might be a good thing, because there'd be a lot less criminals. But if you are law enforcement, I hope you know that my family, we appreciate what you do for every community across this country, every county across this country, every city across this country. I understand. I don't understand what you go through, because I'm not an officer. But I do understand that you deal with a lot of hatred, you deal with a lot of criticism, and that makes your job very hard, because it makes your decisions a lot harder to come to a conclusion on. I mean, people get locked up because there's been police officers who've been locked up because they've shot somebody, and in my opinion, a lot of times they're justified. I like I said, I know I'm rattling about this, but I do want everybody that is law enforcement that watches these videos, and please share this video, and that way people that aren't going to see it, that it might be law enforcement on your Facebook pages, on your Instagrams, whatever, that way they know that there are still Americans that appreciate what they do for us and appreciate the people that they try to be, the men and women they try to be. Because there's nothing that says, or nobody that should say, that we should abolish the police because they're all killers or whatever. Just know, you guys that are law enforcement that watch my videos, that I do appreciate what you do. And if you're a deputy in my county, if you're a city cop in my city here, I got your back. And if I drive by and you're in a situation with somebody, I am going to stop and help. I will put myself in that situation with you. And that's the way it should be for everybody. So anyway, I really appreciate you guys. Make sure you share this video, because there are not enough videos like this that go around. And it's really heartbreaking what happened in our county a few days ago, because it could have been avoided if this man wasn't driving under the influence. So, but anyway, I appreciate you guys. Make sure you share the video. Make sure you leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about everything I talked about. Just let me know. And leave your appreciation in the comments for law enforcement, because I do have several people that comment occasionally. Let me know that they are law enforcement. And and my brother-in-law, he watches these videos, so let him know that you appreciate him. And I'll holler at you guys in the next one.